Shalom in the name of Yehoshua HaMashiach, and welcome to this investigation of another key Bible text which is used to prove the Trinity and the God-man teaching. And it's in Bereshit, Genesis chapter 1 verse 26, where it says, the Mighty One said, "Let us make man in our image according to our likeness." And then verse 27, "And the Mighty One created the man in his image, in the image of the Mighty One he created him, male and female he created them." So what people suggest is that because it says, "Let us make man in our image," they say that clearly this must be one person speaking to another person, but they both must be considered as Yahweh. So what we must have here is that the Father is speaking to the Son and the Holy Spirit, and this is a clear teaching of the Trinity, or for some people it's a clear teaching of Binity, which is like the Trinity but not with the Holy Spirit. Now, rather than going through the various different ways of interpreting the text that have been suggested, I'm just going to give you what I think is the best interpretation, and right off the top I'm going to say that I believe that the Most High is speaking here to the heavenly host, or the angelic beings which surround his throne. This is called the Next Bible. It's at net.bible.org, and it's a Trinitarian Bible software. It's an online facility which has got lots of resources, lexicons, concordances, dictionaries, etc. And it's endorsed by many, top Trinitarian Christians, and I believe people in the Dallas Theological Seminary were quite involved in putting this together. And they have some very interesting things to say about this. In their note here, if you click there, it takes you down to their comments, and I've copied and pasted them and enlarged them on my eSword here so that we can have a read through. And this is just to show that this isn't some weird fringe cultish interpretation, but it's an interpretation that is accepted as a valid one by Trinitarian scholars. So they say the plural form of the verb has been the subject of much discussion through the years, and not surprisingly, several suggestions have been put forward. Look at this. Many Christian theologians interpret it as an early hint of plurality within the Godhead. But this view imposes later Trinitarian concepts on the ancient text. So what they're saying is that those people who use this text to teach Trinity are doing what is called eisegesis. Eisegesis is when you have your own ideas and your own doctrines, and then you put them into the text. The opposite of that is exegesis, which is the proper way of interpreting, of studying the scriptures or anything, which is where you read the text and you interpret it in its context and you get the ideas out of the text, rather than putting your own ideas into the text. And these scholars are saying that Trinitarians who use this verse as a teaching of Trinity are putting their own ideas into the text. Now look what they say a bit later on. They say, in its ancient Israelite context, the plural, i.e. us and we, is most naturally understood as referring to God and his heavenly court. And then they give lots of examples here of where we find in scriptures the Most High is indeed surrounded by lots of heavenly beings. Now I just want to look at one of those examples, which is in Yeshaya chapter 6. And this is about a vision that Yeshaya has. And it says, in the year that sovereign Uzziah died, I saw Yahweh on a throne, high and lifted up, and the train of his robe filled the Hekal. Above it stood seraphim. Each one had 6 wings. With 2 he covered his face, with 2 he covered his feet, and with 2 he flew. And one cried to another and said, Set apart, set apart, set apart, or holy, holy, holy is Yahweh of hosts. All the earth is filled with his esteem. And the posts of the door were shaken by the voice of him who cried out, and the house was filled with smoke. So we see this awesome vision of the Most High surrounded by these beings, these seraphim. And then, we get this in various other places as well. And look at verse 8 here. Yeshayah says, I heard the voice of Yah saying, whom do I send? Whom would go for us? And I said, here I am, send me. So we see this us in this context. Clearly the Most High Yah is referring to him and his angelic, the beings who surround his throne, the seraphim in this instance. And he's saying, who will go for us, referring to the heavenly court, who is going to go and represent him in the heavenly court. Some people might say, well, is there any evidence that these beings were there when during creation? Well, yes, there is. If we go to Job, chapter 38 and verse 4, the Most High is speaking here, says, where were you when I laid the foundations of the earth? Declare if you have understanding. Who set its measurements, if you know, or who stretched a line upon it? Talking about his work of creation, clearly. Upon what were its foundations sunk, or who laid its cornerstone? When the morning stars sang together, and all the sons of Elohim shouted for joy. So the Most High is saying that when he did the creating, the sons of Elohim, the sons of the Mighty One, referring to the angels, angelic beings, shouted for joy. So we have clear evidence here that angelic beings were indeed involved in or around, when Yah was doing his work of creation. So I think it's very plausible that the Most High, when he said, "Let us make man in our image," was indeed was speaking to the heavenly court that surrounds him. Now, going back to this Next Bible, it says, if this is the case, God invites the heavenly court to participate in the creation of mankind, perhaps in the role of offering praise, see the passage we've just read. But he himself is the one who does the actual creative work. Verse 27, where it says, so the Mighty One made man in his image. And here's an important point as well. Of course, this view does assume that the members of the heavenly court possess the divine image in some way. Meaning that, when it says in our image, that must mean that the angels as well, share this image. And they say, since the image is closely associated with rulership, perhaps they share the divine image in that they, together with God and under his royal authority, are the executive authority over the world. And what they're basically saying is that the image of Yah, man being created in the image of Yahweh, is associated with man having authority and dominion over the earth. And they're saying that the angelic hosts themselves also have authority given to them by the Most High, and they also have some sort of authority and rulership over the earth. And so in that sense, it can be said that they're created in the image or with the image of the Most High, just as we are created in the image of the Most High. Sometimes people say, well, angels aren't created in the image of the Most High, but the Bible doesn't say that. The Bible doesn't say that angels or the angelic host are not created in the image of the Most High. This is something that people resort to in order to do away with what is a very reasonable interpretation of the text, which fits into the context and doesn't impose any later doctrines, church or theological doctrines onto the text. So there you go. That's what I believe is the best interpretation of Genesis 1 verse 26.